Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. My name is Dr. Sylvia Morris, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Angela C.B. Walker. And today we have a special treat in that we have a behind the scenes with Dr. Angela C.B. Walker. But before we get into all things Healthstyle, Angela, how are you? And we are, as of the taping of this episode, almost 50, that's 50.
Yes.
Episodes in. And please, if you haven't listened to us before, please go to our website, bossleappodcast.com, to listen to all of our web episodes, and also subscribe and follow us on YouTube. Always got to get that in. But how are you feeling? I'm feeling super proud of us that we have almost 50 episodes. But tell me about this journey for Boss Leap, how you're feeling, what you thought was going to happen, and where we are now.
Good questions. I think the overall feeling is grateful.
Yeah,
I am very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this with you, my partner in crime, and the feeling of gratitude that I was actually able to commit, execute, and we obviously not just me, but you and I, and with God's grace, but to see a dream come to fruition and it continue. And I think overall just very grateful. I'm reading our actually audiobook, but reading a book, The Gap and the Gain, and learning.
Tell us about that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's really, I think the author is Dan Sullivan, and of course, probably one of my other podcasts that I got the book from, but it just talks about living in, what has resonated the most to me so far is living in the gain. So you can either live in the gain, be grateful for where you are today, versus the gap where you're always trying to achieve that next goal and get to that next place where you're going to be happy. But to be happy where you are right now and to take account of all the things that you have already done. So all of the wins that we have, and we've accomplished a lot in the last 3 years. So I'm trying to remain grateful for this moment and to continue to build on myself, continue to work on myself, and of course, my business. But I think in answer to your question, I'm just very, very grateful for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And thank you for reminding us to live in the gain. And if I'm just going to rattle off a few of our gains over the last 3 years, and I think
for it.
The catalyst for the gain was the book. So the game plan, A Woman's Guide to Becoming a Doctor and Living a Life in Medicine, which we co-authored with our classmates and sister friends, Leah Matthews, Jessica Osborne, and Diane Boykin. Yes. And I will also say that the pandemic, one of the silver linings of the pandemic is that we had a lot of time to talk and plan. And all of that talking and planning led to Boss Leap. And in October of 2024 was our first episode on your mom's birthday, if I remember correctly. We will not say the date.
Seems like a blink
of an eye. And now we are almost at 50 episodes. And most recently, we applied to appear at South by Southwest, both as a producing team, our co-host team with our wonderful sister in crime, Dr. Rhonda Maddox. And then also you have a solo entry for South by Southwest. So by hook or crook, we are going to be outside, as the people say, doing big things. And I am super proud of us that at this point in our lives, we are being brave women and making big leaps.
Yeah. And I think most importantly, grateful that what we set out to do, we're continuing to do, and that's to elevate the voices of women who are also making bold moves and, these have these extraordinary lives that we don't necessarily hear about because they may not be in the mainstream media or have a lot of publicity per se, but are still creating these really inspiring lives that other women are being inspired by. And so we're grateful for the listeners who continue to give us positive feedback and are continuing to ask for more.
Absolutely. Not a week goes by where I get like a message from a friend or a friend of the friend who says, you guys are doing really great work. And when I am in that gap period where I forget that we are really making a big difference, and that, as you remind me, that we are elevating voices that may not otherwise be heard. And then the other part is I've learned so much from our guests.
Absolutely. A notebook of notes.
Wow. Yes.
Yes. If nothing else, it's education for us.
Yes, absolutely.
It's positive knowledge, inspiration, voices of creativity, make you think differently and encourage you to do, more things and to continue to grow. So much inspiration. So
yes, definitely. And today we will continue to be inspired. We are talking to our very own Dr. Angela C.B. Walker. She is certainly a bold woman, and she's going to share her brave story of her big leap. Dr. Walker is a mother, a daughter, a wife, a speaker, podcaster, as well as a board-certified OBGYN who has been caring for women for well over 25 years. I know she looks very young. And beyond her practice, she empowers women of all ages, including teaching young girls how to love their bodies, helping women design lives of wellness and joy, and showing us all how to take control of our mind, body, spirit, and financial health. Dr. Walker's insights come from her vast experience, her empathy, and genuine passion for helping others create their own story of wellness. Today, I am thrilled to have my co-host, sister friend, partner in crime, Dr. Angela C.B. Walker. Welcome to Boss Leap.
You're very kind, as always, and I appreciate all that you have positive to say, not only here today, but what you, you're just a power source of positive energy for me through all facets of my life. And so I can say it and give you your flowers in person. You're probably one of the most thoughtful people that I know, and I'm grateful for your friendship. So thank you for the introduction, and I thank you for your friendship.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to receive that. I'm practicing accepting flowers and saying, as opposed to like, nothing.
Deflecting.
But deflecting. Absolutely. So thank you. And, I always say we are card-carrying members of the Mutual Admiration Society.
Absolutely.
So I give what I get. But we are going to stop being misty, and we are going to talk today about Healthstyle. But first, Angela, why did you go into OBGYN? Why women's health?
So I think overall, medicine in general, I have the standard answer that, a lot of people say. I wanted to help people. And, but for women's health, it just felt like a calling. When we're in medical school, we get to do rotations. I actually went into medical school thinking I wanted to do pediatrics. It's what I always thought I wanted. I love children, still do. And, love talking to kids. And then in your third year of medical school, you do rotations, and OBGYN came before pediatrics. And I just felt called. It's not a career for me. I love caring for women, because when you're treating women, you're not only treating them, but you're also treating their families. Mm-hmm. You're affecting the communities that they live in. And yeah, I did that first before pediatrics and fell in love, and the rest was history. I remain inspired by women's trust, particularly in their vulnerable moments. As an OBGYN, you learn a lot. Mm-hmm. It's not just about their health, physical health. It's about their mental health, their spiritual, emotional, all of those things. And it gets to the point where you want to extend the conversation. You want to extend the part that gets to the nitty gritty of why perhaps somebody is feeling the way they do and how it impacts their health. And so now I'm able to help women beyond the exam room through mm-hmm. Healthstyle. And my goal is to help them design the lives that they desire of ultimate health and joy. And so, I don't know if that answers your question, but it does. Essentially that's what inspired me.
Let's go back a little bit though, because you mm-hmm. touched on hearing women and certainly hearing patients. And yes. we know that hearing is more than simply your ears. It's mm-hmm. about your heart. It's about being present in the room. Mm-hmm. And we know that we think about maternal mortality rates, in particular among Black women. A lot yes. of it, or maybe I shouldn't say a lot, some of it is because we are not heard when we mm-hmm. say we're having the X feeling or X symptom. So mm-hmm. how do you make certain that women are heard?
Well, I do feel, and I guess I can say, because I've heard it from my patients for all these years, that I'm a good listener. And I do feel like,
but how do you be in the room? Because visits are short nowadays.
Yeah.
There are a lot of competing entrants. We don't have pagers anymore, but we have telephones. So how do you keep a sacred space for you and your patient?
My personal approach is I tend to go in the room and obviously introduce myself, but I do have my computer, because we have electronic medical records now, and I have that open. Mm-hmm. But I am making eye contact with my patient, and there's a lot that I don't write in the room. I listen, okay. I gather information, and I think it's that connectedness, and I'm actually listening. I may be that doctor that is taking longer because I listen, and in the long run, that can be a detriment because I may be in the office charting longer than others. But I just feel like, I don't know how to say it. I feel like I treat patients the way I want to be treated. And I want to be heard. If I have a problem, I think until you actually let a patient unload and tell you about their problem, you can't ultimately come up with a plan with them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's just a matter of trying to put myself in that person's shoes when I'm listening, because certainly my life is going to be different than the patient's life. Their experiences are different than mine. But if I can try to empathize with where they're coming from, what their experience has been, perhaps what their experience has been with other providers, because a lot of times patients, once they feel that you are listening, will certainly open up. But if they feel like you're just another, checkbox and you're trying to get through, which, oftentimes you have to,
and you can feel that though, as a patient or wherever we are. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. You're doing great. Talk to me about, so you've had a long career in OBGYN, in obstetrics and gynecology. How do you stay inspired and passionate? You're up long nights and overnights and you're catching babies. Remember, I'm an internist, so forgive me. We say catching babies.
Yes.
So how do you remain inspired?
I think in OBGYN, it's very easy to stay inspired because you're inspired by your patients. There are so many women that you see on a daily basis. They're overcoming hurdles, whether it's health hurdles, mental health hurdles, physical health hurdles, navigating the lives of their families, whether it's their children, a spouse, a significant other, or as we are in our stage of life, an elder that's in their lives, and they are navigating all of these things. And unfortunately, oftentimes putting themselves and their own needs on the back burner. So everyone else, that we're conditioned to put others first and leaving our needs as secondary. But I just remain inspired because I feel like I make a difference. I feel like going to work, listening, potentially inspiring someone to make health changes, but certainly trying to empathize with where they are and figure out how I can be of the best assistance. Educating is a big part of what we do in OBGYN. And I think through that education, then you empower women to make their own choices. So that's how I stay inspired.
Let's pull that thread a little bit more. When you talk about educating women and helping women to put their needs first so that they can then care for everyone else, if there's a woman that is listening who just wants to get started on a healthy lifestyle, and there's only one thing that she can do, is there one recommendation? Because it's hard to just shift the battleship. So we didn't get where we are overnight.
Yes.
So if we are not putting ourselves first, or have been unable to exercise, or we're going to practices and those things, Ubering our children everywhere. So we can't necessarily do the healthy foods. What's one change a woman can implement that kind of gets her started as a catalyst?
From a practical standpoint, I would say focus on sleep. And that's just from,
and why sleep?
But I think because that orchestrates everything else in your life. If you're not resting, if you are typically running on low battery, it affects your health in particular because your cells don't have time to regenerate and heal.
I'm just cranky when I don't get enough sleep.
Mentally, you are not at your best. And not only does it affect your mood, but it affects, how your capacity to make decisions and the way in which you make, decisions and how you function. And we can talk about, ways to navigate that. But from I think a more philosophical, if you will, kind of approach, remember that your body whispers before it screams. So listen to your body and speak up. So when you're starting to feel that, whether it's the twinge of pain or the fog or the sadness, and you're not addressing that, then you're basically not paying attention to that whisper that your body is telling you, I need you to pay attention. And I want to inspire women to reclaim their voice. And it begins with believing that your health matters. So you have to listen to what your body is saying. And I know this sounds kind of nebulous, but really the ways to listen is to, journal, write. How are you feeling? Is this your best day? What did you do today that actually made you feel good? Are you, taking account, what you're eating, how you're eating, whether you're drinking water, whether you're sleeping. I mean, just some of the basics. But oftentimes we say we're going to do better, we're going to do better, we're going to do better, but we're not really taking account to what we're doing right now and how we can make that change.
But I also think something just as simple as when you get into bed at night, before you drift off to sleep, you know, I use that as a time to do a gratitude list. Some people use it as an opportunity to let me kind of go through the day to see where perhaps I could be better, or there's some interactions that maybe I would do differently. Our guest, Shia Gibbs, talked about doing that kind of mental accountability at the end of the day. So maybe it's not as grand as I'm going to journal, but maybe it's something as small as, you know what, I was tired today and I was short. So, last night I didn't get in bed until, for me, it's if I'm not in bed by 10:30, then I'm not going to sleep early enough. I'm tired the next day. So those little things. But we are diving into Healthstyle. So let's just go on in. So tell us, what is Healthstyle and when did you decide to make the leap?
Okay. So deciding to make the leap, I think, has been a long time coming. And when you're talking about the leap, so I have made a leap from practicing traditional obstetrics and gynecology to gynecology only. So I no longer deliver babies, and I have fantastic, wonderful memories that fuel me every day. And
you have a quarter of a century of memories of delivering babies, if I am correct. And we had been talking about you doing gyne only in some sort of iteration for probably the last 5 years, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely correct. But I've been thinking about it probably for the last 10 years. And so it's, you know, it's been it's an evolution, right? So the thought is there, and then it's just a matter of seeing what that looks like, how it looks like, and whether you can actually, for me, get off the hamster wheel of doing the same thing and expecting things to change. So for OB, as you mentioned, and you encounter a lot of sleepless nights, and there's a lot of joy that's involved in that. But ultimately, for me, it was starting to take a toll on my own health. Just I was not functioning as well after not sleeping for 24 hours, and knew that I still love women's health care, and I still wanted to make an impact, but would no longer.
Dr. Angela, what did that, we want some nitty gritty here on Boss Sleep. When you talk about, you know, I just wasn't feeling well after not sleeping for 24 hours, how did that show up in your life?
So I think functioning wise, when I was at work, I was actually fine. You just learn over your years.
You're power through. Yeah,
you're on point in the office. But it was afterwards and how I felt when I was, leaving, the office at 6 or 7 at night, and how I felt after call, and perhaps not being as kind as I would like to be with, my family, and really just taking account of, and knowing in my heart of hearts that it wasn't the healthiest way to live my life. I mean, you're not designed to stay awake for 24 hours. Our bodies don't perform as well. And ultimately, I mean, long-term wise, I felt like for me, it was going to, if I continued at that pace, was going to take years off my life. And that's honestly how I felt. And so it was, again, it's that listening to your body whisper to you before it starts screaming. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but I just started to feel like something has to change. And when I was allowed the opportunity to look at some other ways of still being a doctor and still using my knowledge, but going outside the exam room, that's how Healthstyle came about. So in the last several years, was introduced to health and wellness coaching, which essentially is what I've done a lot of for 25 years in the office, but it wasn't called that. But there's a lot of coaching that we do with patients, and coaching entails really helping to guide someone to the point that they'd like to be at. And much of it is bringing out what you already know internally. So I don't necessarily have to give you a prescription.
And you are also board certified in lifestyle medicine, correct?
Yes. So I've also,
how did that help on your coaching journey?
Tremendously. I think I've always had a lot of that lifestyle medicine to a foundation in my own life, in terms of when I go back to my letter that we have to write in terms of why we want to go into medicine. One of the things I reflect on is I wanted to be basically a catalyst for prevention. I wanted to help to prevent things that we know that we can prevent. So hypertension, diabetes, obesity. I wanted in my practice of medicine somehow to incorporate prevention versus just treatment. And that's always been,
we can't we give pills for everything, but we want to do what we talk about primary prevention, meaning stopping the disease before it actually happens. So you are what you eat. It is about movement. But tell us, lifestyle medicine, that sounds like kind of a really high, lofty phrase, but what is lifestyle medicine at its basics?
Lifestyle medicine essentially is based on 6 pillars of health.
I didn't know that.
So you've got nutrition. So it is, there is a big focus on plant-based whole food diet. And so there are a lot of vegans that adopt the lifestyle medicine, but it's not just about vegan.
Paleo people.
Absolutely,
too?
It's not.
Okay,
it's not an absolute, but there is a lot of education, and more importantly, there's a lot of evidence that eating a vegan or minimal meat
animal-based
diet or animal protein diet has a lot of health benefits and potentially longevity of life. And so there's, evidence there, but I think most importantly, what people should take away is that we should be incorporating a lot more plants based foods in our diet. And that helps to kind of balance out the scope of not only like the microbiome of our gut, but if you evaluate how you feel, oftentimes incorporating those things actually give you more energy. So
the pillars include diet, nutrition. What else?
Movement. So I talk about movement a lot. So physical activity, and that I like movement versus those words, physical activity, certainly exercise,
is a dirty word.
So you don't feel like it's something you have to do, but trying to identify something that you love to do or that you can do that still does not feel like a chore for you. So we talk about that a lot in Healthstyle, just trying to figure out what you can do with your current situation, with your job or responsibilities that you have. You may not be able to go to the gym. You may not have the money, the resources to go to the gym. But if you can walk, then that's certainly a form of exercise. You can dance, you can swim, you can do all of these other things. So anyway, I digress. But movement, sleep. So restorative sleep is huge. And we talked about, the ways in which, we really don't talk a lot about sleep habits, sleep rituals, or, good sleep habits per se, from the time that kids are young. And I think that's so
Screen
important.
time is going to be the thing that kills the next generation. It's
detrimental for us right now. So, I mean, it's our generation as well. So, restorative sleep, community. So being involved in, community, Certainly, whether that's your family, whether it's church, whether it's, even some people have community and in their work atmosphere, and certainly, friendships and nourishing, those things is super important. And we obviously know from our girls trip how important, and our friendship, more importantly, how community can make a difference and elevate your mood. But also be a source of inspiration for you.
So I heard nutrition, we have movement, we have sleep, we have community.
So in addition to those four, there's stress management.
Ooh, that's a big one.
So, managing our mental and emotional health has to do with, stress management. And so we talk about a lot of ways that we can do that, whether it's through your social life,
those
your prayer
other
life,
four to manage our stress.
Absolutely.
If I'm eating right, if I'm sleeping, if I'm moving, all of those things help my stress level. So,
so many. Just taking account of ways that we can manage our mental health. And be really intentional about that. And then lastly is looking at avoiding things that are risky. So essentially is avoiding risky substances. So this one is a little bit.
French fries, would that be, or a French fry, would that be risky?
Yeah, that's risky. So is smoking and drinking. And so, again, moderation is certainly, I think, probably your first goal if you are somebody that indulges.
You know what I always say, though? Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Exactly. And that's the key. So, I've taken it to heart, and certainly, reserve, alcohol for celebrations and instead of nighttime before going to bed, that sort of thing. So, a lot of those things inherently make sense to us as physicians, but we didn't necessarily learn ways in each of those pillars to help our patients. And certainly, there's definitely evidence that shows that practicing, lifestyle medicine principles can not only prevent the diseases I mentioned, but also reverse them. So for somebody that has, diabetes, hypertension, there are plenty of people that by adopting a lifestyle, medicine kind of practice have reversed those diseases. And there are obviously exceptions and
at least their numbers have improved. If you're on dialysis,
right.
Then,
that's not,
that's a bridge too far, but
exactly.
So Dr. Angela, you have something new, or I should say something you've been working on for probably the last year. We want to hear all about it. So Healthstyle is your plan where you help women design optimal wellness. So you guide women into creating a life that is filled with health, joy, and balance, mind, body, spirit, and financial. I need all of those things. So tell me, what is Healthstyle and who is your ideal client?
Healthstyle was kind of born out of this whole idea of helping women that feel stuck in their current health situation, whether that's, again, mental health, physical health, emotional health, which we can all relate to, and even financial health, kind of all of those things together, providing a framework, an individualized framework for identifying what's working for you and then identifying what's not, and trying to create a bridge to get to what ultimately will work in all of those areas. So ultimately you can create this life of health, optimal health and joy without feeling like you have to follow someone else's formula. But keeping the pillars in place, if you will, I'm using pillars, but not trying to use lifestyle medicine pillars, but like you said, your mind, body, spirit, because as a physician, I do have, the knowledge in terms of certain things that can help in terms of our health style, in terms of our health, that can help you design your own health style. But ultimately, my goal is to be able to work outside the confines of the 15 minutes that we get in the office.
How about that?
Women oftentimes ask for, but haven't really had the platform to do that. And so I am able to do that through, kind of health and wellness coaching, as well as, speaking in terms of larger audiences. So in Healthstyle, we can do one-on-one coaching, health coaching, and can also, I have a program that is more of a 90-day group program. So not only are you
like
getting,
a jump start.
Yeah, a jump start, but you're also coming into a community of like-minded women.
I like that.
Yeah. And so for me, it's been helpful doing that in a coaching atmosphere. So as I have, again, actually got my, coaching certificate versus just being a physician, it's a
so
different.
Wait, Angela, you have a coaching certificate. You are board certified in OBGYN, and you're also board certified in lifestyle medicine. And you're bringing all this together in Healthstyle and using your stellar listening skills so that women can be heard. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's my goal. That is my goal. And that is what certainly right now brings me joy. And I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to do this. And, if I can help hundreds of women, thousands of women, that would, if I can help one though. And that's, what I feel like keeps me going. You mentioned before, what inspires me. It's just being able to pour into somebody else and help to draw out what's actually inside them already, but helping them, encouraging, empowering them to create this new found vision of how they can become healthier in, all realms of their life. That's what brings me joy.
I love that. I love that because certainly we are all on a journey of growth and evolution.
Yes.
And just like we have a coach when it comes to our fitness or our movement, certainly we have healthcare, our physicians, we have a dentist, we have all these, we have a hairstylist. So we have all these people that help us be better. So what I am hearing from Healthstyle, you surround people with community and the tools in which they can design an individualized, authentic plan that is unique to them. And then therefore it makes you or sets you up for success. Meaning if you tell me that the plan was designed for so-and-so, whoever that happens to be, that may not necessarily gel with my life.
Right.
So that's what I'm hearing with Healthstyle. So tell me, when a woman comes to you, what's sort of the first thing that happens?
Initially, it's, why are you here? What is not necessarily just the one thing, but let's say that your top three concerns. And so, you get a multitude of some women are just not happy in their current career. Now, I'm not necessarily a career coach, but diving into what is it that's making you unhappy? So is it, you're not happy with what you're currently doing? Does it not, bring you satisfaction? Is it the hours? Is it the fact that you don't get enough sleep? Or is there,
the money,
relationship,
the location, the travel,
all of those things. And so sometimes just saying that you're not happy, that's the whisper, but it's getting to the, underneath.
The why.
What is it? Yes. Yes. And so, and then trying to identify, okay, what's, one thing that you could do maybe this week that would help, whether if you can, and not everybody can, put their finger on it,
Small, achievable goals.
Exactly. And it's the small steps that add up to the big change. So that's listening, a lot of listening in terms of, but trying to identify, like, why are you here? What made you click on, the website? What made you sign up for the discovery call? And what is it that you think I can help you with? And then what are you willing to invest? And I'm not talking about money, in terms of time.
Or give up, because sometimes you have to give up something in order to move forward.
Right. That's true. And it's making the time to make the change. So if I can write a prescription for a pill. I can't just give you a prescription to how to get unstuck from where you are. And it is really not, it wouldn't be Healthstyle, creating your own style, if I gave you a prescription. There's not one way to do it.
The answers don't lie in someone else. The answers all lie within me.
Yes.
And then I have to do something about that.
Yeah. But I can guide. And so I think that's the goal of a coach, is to help to guide, but not actually give you the plan, help you to create the plan.
Yeah, definitely. So that is certainly helpful. Switching gears a little bit, you have been a speaker for Girlology, and certainly, please, you can tell us about Girlology, or just sort of the one-liner. But can we spend a little bit time on teaching women, and certainly with Girlology, it's about young girls, but women to love their bodies. And what is one thing you wish every girl growing up would know and love about their body?
The one thing, if I could wrap it up, is for girls to know that your body is a gift to be honored. It's not a problem to be fixed.
I love that.
There is nothing that happens that is a problem that needs to be fixed. And we go through all the changes in our lives. And again, it's individualized.
Menopause, premenstrual cramps, the pain of childbirth, all the things, fibroids, endometriosis. Okay.
Yeah. But it's specifically for young girls, it's their hips are getting bigger. They may have pimples on their face. Their period comes, their chest is growing, and they're different than others. So my body is bigger than hers. Her curves are different than mine. They're all gifts to be honored. And so if we could show girls, and that comes from mothers and women in young girls' lives, that tell them that their body is perfect the way that it is, instead of us trying to create this other body all the time.
Social media is a bear, and all the filters and just the idealized photos of bodies. That's tough.
Yeah. And so Girlology, sorry, to answer your question, Girlology was developed by wonderful physicians, that a gynecologist and a pediatrician, who their idea was to help young girls navigate the changes in their body, to educate them with evidence-based information, to create an atmosphere of celebrating the changes in their bodies, and also bringing in the women or someone in their lives that can actually be on that journey with them, that would be a valuable source of information, so that they're not having to go outside their valued source of information to get education about their bodies, such as social media and friends, which we all know oftentimes is misinformation instead of actual information.
Absolutely.
And so, the Girlology, I fell in love with it. I know, goodness, I don't know, it's over.
What did you enjoy
12 years ago
most about Girlology?
I think the interaction with the mothers or the caregivers and the girls, watching them come into the room, really, especially the girls, very nervous and having not a clue what was going on.
Because they're like 10, 11, 12 usually?
Around that age, yes, like fourth, fifth grade.
Okay.
very timid and not necessarily wanting to ask the questions. And then with the presentation and the talk, making it interactive, slingshotting bras across the room, showing them, pads and tampons and all these normal things in our lives that shouldn't be a secret or hidden.
Right.
And then, you get midway in the program and they're raising their hands and they're giggling, and the caretaker that's with them, the smiles on their faces, a relaxation, and making it, just a really fun, informative environment. But again, I think ultimately the celebration of what a woman goes through, adolescence, puberty, and beyond.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy that the conversation on menopause is out.
Yes.
So we have Holly Berry and Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Sharon Malone talking about menopause. And I think that is so helpful because it brings it out of the shadow. Yes. And if you're a woman and you live long enough, you're going to go through menopause, or if you have some sort of health issue that interrupts your reproductive sort of years, and you'll help me with this, then you too may go into early menopause. So it is not a secret or something to really be ashamed of. I'm glad that we're having that conversation now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that could be a whole nother episode, which we have briefly talked on that, but the pendulum has certainly swung from the time that I started practicing OBGYN. We came out knowing, all of the hormones that, we were supposed to give women. And then, in 2001, the Women's Health Initiative came out, study that kind of reversed things. Unfortunately, and we know a lot more about the flaws of the study now. And we know a lot more in terms of studies in women's healthcare that, hormones are not a bad word, nor are they necessarily prohibited to women at any age now. And so certainly it's a great conversation for us to be having on a continual basis. And certainly I see a lot of empowered women now that come into the office and they've got their questions and they're not backing down and, just feeling empowered to say, hey, I need help. And so I think that's the beauty of us continuing the conversation about menopause.
Absolutely. So certainly our conversation, there's been emphasis on community. We've been talking about listening and making sure that patients and women are feeling heard, not feeling heard, but are being heard.
Yes.
Let me use the active verb. And when we talk about women ready to create their own story of wellness, what wisdom or tools do you hope that they carry with them?
I think looking at wellness as a design for your life, not a destination. Like we're not trying to just get to this point where, I'm well.
And then we stop. Right. And do really kind of revert back to the other stuff we were doing because I'm well. And I'm like, oh, no, you got to continue all that stuff. It's a continuation.
It's creating the continual changes that ultimately, make your journey bigger, better, brighter, healthier, but adopting the lifestyle changes that ultimately will, get you into, your later years still feeling vibrant and full of life. So I think there are certain changes we can't make overnight, but we can take one step at a time. And so maybe identifying again, one of those changes. So whether it's sleep, or whether it's, stress management, or whether it's your nutrition, certainly addressing all of these things is beneficial, but taking one step is making that change, is moving towards that change.
Eat the elephant one bite at a time.
And I like elephants. I hate that analogy, but it is a good visual in terms of, but you have to start.
You do.
That's the key. You have to start. You can't wait for, and this is what I find in the office is people are waiting for the ideal time. Okay. After Thanksgiving, after Christmas,
right.
After my child graduates, after,
right now. Listo.
Listo. Right now, make one change.
I recently found photos at the beginning of we'll call it my movement journey.
Yeah.
And I saw what my body looked like. And this must have been, I think, like 2017. Yes, because I started 2 years before, which should have been my 50th birthday. And now I look at the photos of myself and I can see the huge difference from 2017 to 2025. That's a long time. And that just required me to be consistent and intentional about my choices, not only my nutrition choices, but I had to continue to move when it's cold, when it's hot and humid, when I'm when I'm tired, all of the things. So that is, you're right. The consistency.
You have made, such impressive, I guess impressions on me in terms of like your Pilates and that last post that you're so strong. And and ultimately those are the things we need to be, shifting to, particularly in our stage in life, and is building that strength. And it's not just about what you're going to fit into, but becoming stronger with, weight bearing exercises and strength training, all of those things. But you have to start. You have to start the movement and what resonates with you. And you may not know it right away, but you have to start to actually figure it out.
Absolutely. And I'm going to thank Deanna Companion.
Yes.
Please go to our archives for Boss Sleep podcast. Yes. She was one of our earlier guests, and we work out a Bridgebody Pilates. So that is absolutely fantastic. She is fantastic.
You want to do all the things for her. She just gives you that encouragement.
And she's tough.
Yes.
So Angela, tell us on sort of more of a personal note about your self-care regime, what it looks like now, or maybe one or two things that you are focusing on.
I don't know that I've really over the year changed a lot. I've just tried to be more focused in making sure that it happens. So on a daily basis, my self-care starts with prayer and then meditation. I love the Calm app, Jay Shetty.
Yes, please, Jay, you can have us on. We can talk to you.
I like the guided meditation, and again, my patients get sick of hearing me say it, but I haven't evolved to being able to do it on my own, and so I like the guided portion, and I can do it throughout the day. I have my vitamin D now, so get the sunshine in the morning. And I'm going to have to gear up for the fall and get all my layers on because, I don't like cold. But Sebastian, my bulldog, he loves the sun. So I can't even get the walk in. And honestly, he's like looking towards this. I don't know what it is for him, but it is, it's his golden nugget in the morning. So getting the vitamin D and walking. I'm trying to adopt your habit of walking in the morning. Yes. I try. I haven't perfected that one. So it's usually more in the evening. And then other than that, trying to make sure that I do the gratitude practice in the evening. And just what you said, I may have gotten in bed and there's a journal right beside my bed, but I don't want to turn on a light. I don't want, but practicing the, list of what things I have to be grateful for in my head. So just saying those is very helpful. It's peaceful. It gives you that peace before going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And one other thing I learned, I read about recently, is that waking up in the middle of the night. So, those of us in menopause, even if you are on hormones, sometimes you do have an occasional awakening in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to empty my bladder, but yes.
Same. And that's when oftentimes your mind will just be on overdrive, like what I need to do tomorrow, or the things that I need to fix this, or I need to help this person or that person. And it was something that I read recently, just a reframing of I am okay and everything else can wait. And that,
and even just you saying that now made me just sort of take a little sigh.
Breath, yes.
I am okay. Thank you for that reminder. Please say that again for our audience.
I am okay and everything else will be all right. I don't even know what I said the first time, but the most importantly is I am okay. Yes. Everything else can wait. Then the other part was, best decisions will be made when I'm awake. When I am fully awake. So yeah, that's been a new one. And I think it's helpful because I got to that point where I was thinking about my mom and my kids and what I needed to, do. And I am okay. Everything else can wait. So that's been a new adoption in my self-care regimen. I would like to get back to massages. So that's my goal, self-care point on my list of things to do.
Angela C.B. Walker, where can people find you to sign up for Healthstyles or to find more information about Healthstyle?
Yeah, well, my website is the best place. It's drangela.walker.com. And you can reach me, DM me through Instagram. I am Dr. Walker. But those are two good places to reach me.
Well, Dr. Angela, we thank you. We are so grateful to have you on today at Boss Sleep Podcast. I am okay. You are okay. You're more than okay. And everything else can wait. I am going to leave us with those sage words. And if you enjoyed this episode of Boss Sleep, which I'm quite certain you did, please drop us a line at bosssleeppodcast at Gmail. That's boss, LEAP, podcast at gmail.com. You can subscribe to us, our show, Boss Sleep, on YouTube. Again, that's Boss Sleep Podcast on YouTube. And please send us a line, subscribe, like, listen, follow, and share. And until we meet again, may you be well.
Sylvia, I thank you so much. This was your idea, and I'm grateful always to hopefully be able to inspire. And we both, I think, are in a mission to make women's lives healthier, happier, more joyful. And I am grateful for the listeners, for your feedback. And again, until we meet again, may you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Sleep. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bosssleeppodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language. And you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.